How to use paleo sweeteners like maple syrup and honey in baking. Are you curious about how to incorporate paleo sweeteners like maple syrup and honey into your baking? These natural sweeteners can add a delightful flavor to your paleo snacks and desserts. Let's break down how to use them effectively in your recipes. First, it is important to note that both maple syrup and honey are liquid sweeteners. They contain more water than granulated sugars and are about 25% sweeter. This means you will need less of them compared to regular sugar. A good rule of thumb is to use about 1/2 to 3/4 of a cup of maple syrup or honey for every cup of sugar called for in your recipe. Since these sweeteners add extra liquid, you will need to adjust the other liquids in your recipe. For every cup of honey or maple syrup you use, subtract about 1/4 cup of liquid from the recipe. If you are using smaller amounts, you can adjust proportionally. For instance, subtract 1 tablespoon of liquid for every 1/4 cup of honey or maple syrup added. Both honey and maple syrup are slightly acidic. To balance this acidity, consider adding a small amount of baking soda, around 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon per cup of sweetener. This will help improve the leavening and browning of your baked goods. Flavor is another important aspect to consider. Honey has a stronger taste compared to maple syrup, which has a rich, caramel-like flavor. Choose the sweetener based on which flavor you want to highlight in your recipe. If you prefer a subtler sweetness, use honey sparingly. If you decide to substitute granulated sweeteners like coconut sugar or sucanat for liquid sweeteners, remember to add extra liquid to compensate for the dryness. You should add about 1/4 cup of liquid for every cup of granulated sweetener used. In paleo baking, using these natural sweeteners not only adds sweetness but also contributes to the browning and texture of your treats. This enhances the overall flavor and appearance of your baked goods. Here are some practical tips for baking with maple syrup and honey. Measure your sweeteners carefully and adjust other liquids accordingly. Add a small amount of baking soda to balance acidity. Choose your sweetener based on desired flavor intensity. And remember to use less sweetener than sugar due to the higher sweetness level. By following these guidelines, you can successfully incorporate paleo-friendly sweeteners like maple syrup and honey into your baking recipes. This will result in delicious, moist, and flavorful paleo snacks and desserts that everyone will enjoy.